Merhaba herkese. Hello everybody. Sorry, I started in Turkish again. Hello everybody. We're starting our English presentation. Hope everyone is doing well in the program. And this week was calorie restriction and counting our calories. Hopefully you guys are being successful. And I see the ones who follow the program are being successful. And baseline goes down under 80 centimeters. Many people lose 1 or 2 pounds, kilos every week. So there is nobody who didn't get any result from the program. Okay, so let's start with thyroid. Our subject this week is hypothyroidism and mainly Hashimoto hypothyroidism. Okay, so let's start with what is thyroid. Your thyroid is a small butterfly shape under this little cricoid here, butterfly shaped gland that's located in front of your neck. Okay, it's part of your endocrine system and controls many of your body's important functions by producing and releasing, secreting certain hormones. Okay, your thyroid's main job is to control the speed of your metabolism. It controls the metabolic rate with mitochondria function, which is the process of how your body transforms the food you consume into energy. From food you eat into energy at your cellular level inside the mitochondria. Mitochondria are powerhouses of your cells, right? All of the cells in your body needs energy to function. So, thyroid hormone regulations are made with anterior pituitary hormone, right? Thyroid stimulating hormone. So, we check TSH in the clinic. So, we try to diagnose the patients through just checking TSH. When your thyroid is not working properly, this gland, the center keeps nagging your thyroid hormone, produce more. Okay, so that's the one that's regulating your thyroid hormone production. Okay, so when you don't have enough thyroid hormone in your body, it affects the whole entire body. Okay, it's not just like, few places, it's just a whole body, because all of our cells have mitochondria and thyroid affects the mitochondria function. Okay, so what does the thyroid hormones do? Okay, so what does thyroid gland do? As an endocrine gland, it secretes hormones, we said. Your thyroid produces and releases these following hormones, which is 1, T4, okay? Second, T3. Third, reverse thyroid, RT3, and calcitonin. So, T4, T3, it shows, they got the name because of the iodine intake. 4 molecules, T4, 3 molecules, T3. There is a reverse thyroid because if there is too much T3, to reverse this T3, there is RT3 to reverse the effects of thyroid T3 hormone. And calcitonin is related to calcium regulation in our body. So in order to make thyroid hormones, your thyroid gland needs iodine. Actually, iodine is the only thing your thyroid gland needs, and iodine is used only in your thyroid gland. Okay, so originally in the past, the hypothyroidism was related to mainly iodine deficiency, but nowadays, because also people are more careful and more knowledgeable about this iodine deficiency, that's why it's put in the table salts, now iodized salts, and people are eating more seaweed, people eat fish too anyway. So we don't see the hypothyroidism related to iodine deficiency. Now, 9 out of 10 cases are Hashimoto thyroiditis, which is autoimmune related thyroid dysfunction. So, let's see why we are having trouble when we have enough thyroid hormone, when we don't have enough thyroid hormone. So, as we said, it's for energy, okay? We feel tired. If you don't have enough energy, it's not produced in our mitochondria, right? Heart rate. Your heart rate slows down. Breathing slows down. Digestion slows down. Constipation, right? Body temperature. That's why we're always cold if we don't have enough thyroid hormone. Brain development. That's why we have brain fog if you don't have enough thyroid hormone. Mental activities. Skin and bone maintenance. That's why with dry skin, we lose hair, right? We lose bones if you don't have enough thyroid hormone in our body. And, people cannot get pregnant if you don't have enough thyroid hormone. It affects the reproductive organs as well. So, cardiovascular system, we say that pumping of the heart, the contractility, it affects. So nervous system, numbness, tingling, pain, or sensation loss, depression, anxiety, if you don't have enough thyroid hormone, brain fog all the time. Digestive system, constipations are these leaky gut, all because of this. And reproductive system, as we said, menstrual irregularities because of this. Okay, so can a person live without a thyroid? Yes, you can live without your thyroid. But how? By giving thyroid hormone from outside. These people usually take around 200 microgram thyroid hormone a day, levothyroxine, okay? So, how do we lose the thyroid gland? If there was overactive thyroid, if there was cancer, if there was nodules, if there was a lot of problem in the thyroid that's toxic to the body, then they remove it, they ablate it, they burn, and then you lose your thyroid functions. So that's how you lose it, and then you start taking thyroid hormones from outside. So what conditions and disorders affect thyroid? Okay, so there are several different types of thyroid disease. So thyroid disease, very common. The rate is increasing every year. Hypothyroidism I'm talking about. So every decade, more and more thyroid cases. People are getting unhealthier. That's the main reason. If you're unhealthy in your overall body, it means that your thyroid function is going to decline. So you're losing your thyroid functions too because of the inflammation. So what could go wrong in your thyroid gland? First of all, hypothyroidism. You may not produce enough thyroid hormone. Hyperthyroidism, you may produce too much. And there is this goiter because of the hypothyroidism. There is this enlarged thyroid, and the other thing is thyroid cancer. So we are going to talk about hypothyroidism today. Low functioning thyroid, basically. That's the most common thyroid disorder. And mainly we are going to talk about Hashimoto thyroiditis, because that's the one, 9 out of 10 cases are Hashimoto thyroidism, and only 1 out of 10 is iodine deficiency hypothyroidism. That's why we're focusing on Hashimoto's today. Okay, so hypothyroidism means your gland is not producing enough thyroid hormone. We said it is treatable. Okay, so there are some other thyroid gland problems, like newborns may not have enough thyroid function, or it may not even have thyroid gland. as a congenital disorder. So that's why when they are born, we check, we get blood from their heel to see if their thyroid hormone is normal or not. And then they start thyroid hormone immediately for the brain development and everything else. And some people have, as we said, they remove, they lose their thyroid gland. That's why they develop hypothyroidism. Sometimes these hyperthyroidism medications are given too much without checking, and then those people also develop hypothyroidism. Okay, so as we said, we're going to talk about Hashimoto thyroidism, which is 9 out of 10 cases of the hypothyroidism, right? So, because there is no treatment in modern medicine for Hashimoto's, that's why the only thing they would give is levothyroxine. And for that reason, they never check if this patient has Hashimoto thyroidism or iodine deficiency thyroidism. So they don't check, they don't go in detail when they are testing in the clinic, okay? Because there's no medicine for that, okay? So, but if they checked, if this is Hashimoto, means autoimmune related, you can do something about it. You can get to the root cause, fix that root cause, and prevent this autoimmune Hashimoto's. And when you prevent autoimmune Hashimoto's, you can prevent the other autoimmune diseases that may come your way. Because every 10 years, when you have an autoimmune disease, you have the second one, third one, and then so on. So you can prevent by diagnosing if you have autoimmune Hashimoto disease and prevent other autoimmune diseases as well. So what may happen to you? You may have lupus, for example, in 10 years or in few years, rheumatoid arthritis, for example, or ulcerative colitis, Sjögren, for example. All these autoimmune diseases may come along after you're diagnosed with Hashimoto's, and it's better to fix it as soon as it's diagnosed. Okay, so what does hypothyroidism cause in our body? First of all, weight gain and not being able to lose weight. Because as we said, thyroid hormone directly related to mitochondria function. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cells, right? So then means that your metabolism rate is low. So you're not going to be able to lose weight, and everything you eat is going to be converted to stored energy. So especially ladies after menopause and lacking the other hormones as well, it's just like perfect storm, not being able to lose weight. Okay, at least half of the people with Hashimoto's suffer from weight issues. According to studies, even they are treated with thyroid hormone, their TSH is normal, T3, T4, everything is normal. These people, 60% of these people are not able to lose weight, even though they eat only 900 calories in the study. And these 900 calories diets are dangerous. As we say, this week we're doing calorie restriction, and even for the ladies, we're not reducing less than 1,500 calorie. So now you're putting yourself in danger with these 900 calories, like nutrition deficiencies, and you're putting more problems on top of the hypothyroidism. Okay, the reason people cannot lose weight, as we said, mitochondria dysfunction, right? This mitothyroid connection. Issues with Hashimoto's, like central energy production, their mitochondria doesn't work, that's why they feel tired all the time, have brain fog, memory issues, because the highest concentration of mitochondria is in the brain. That's why we're going to see brain-related problems before everything else. So even levothyroxine is not going to fix this, as we said. Okay, because the problem is not addressed, that's the autoimmune, which is the inflammation of the thyroid, and mitochondria is dysfunctional. Okay, what are the main causes of Hashimoto's? So as we said, if we can get to the root cause, the bottom of this problem, Hashimoto's, autoimmune disease, we can reverse it. There are 4 main reasons why we get autoimmune disease, why we get Hashimoto disease. First of all, inflammatory food. If you're eating inflammatory food, everything, every cell, every organ in your body is going to expose to inflammation. And thyroid is such a fussy organ, very sensitive. Of course, it's going to get affected from this general inflammation. Okay? So, what are those inflammatory foods? First of all, processed food. Processed meat, processed cheese. All the cheese are processed. It just has different processing levels, but all cheese are processed. Okay, there are emulsifiers and all this rennet, like there are a lot of stuff in it to make it like looking like cheese, like hard cheese, right? So gluten is like right now dwarf gluten. They changed the genetics of it. The farming practices changed in dairy as well. Okay, they are using a lot of hormones for dairy. They are using all these glyphosates, Roundup for the gluten. The wheat changed. So farming practices changed. Soy, corn, genetically modified. So that's why they are becoming inflammatory. Our body is not able to recognize these and unfortunately attacking its organs, its own organs. Immune system is attacking itself. Okay? Sugar is one of those too because it's processed. When it is processed, when it's separated from the fiber, it's processed. Okay. We did not have GMO before. There was no problem. Now, because of the farming practices, it's changed, and now human body, our genes cannot adapt to it that fast. Maybe millions later it may adapt, but it's not adapting as fast to these changes we're making in the food. Okay. So, as we said, industrial interventions and genetic component is changing. That's why it's affecting. So, low-hanging fruit, right? Inflammatory food. If we can fix that, it means that we're fixing most of the problem. But what are the other reasons that would cause Hashimoto's? Stress. Constant cortisol levels. So cortisol is an important hormone. That hormone makes us get up in the morning and function during the day. But too much cortisol is always keeping us at edge. Okay? So it even causes genetic changes. For example, adverse childhood events. These are lifelong unresolved trauma. You know, those people have more thyroid disorders, more autoimmune disorders. It disrupts mitochondria function, emotional stress, environmental stress like chemicals. These also produce cortisol. If someone is always in stressful situation, working too many hours, city life, not getting enough sleep, taking care of children, taking care of family, working too much, work stress, and taking care of elderly in some situations, okay? Especially ladies, you know, females get more burden. They take more than their own share, okay? So that's why these thyroid disorders are more common in female. So 9 out of 10 hypothyroidism cases are females. So there is a reason why, right? So we take more, that's why. Okay, third reason is toxins. In the last decade, why there are more Hashimoto's, one of the reasons is toxins. Okay, thyroid gland is like a sponge. It accumulates all the toxins in the gland. Okay, it absorbs. So the poison destroys the thyroid tissue. Lead, mercury, okay, or arsenic metals. It's, present in our environment. The food we eat, from pesticides, the air we breathe, okay, pollution, poison to mitochondria. It gets jammed inside and becomes dysfunctional, okay. Mold, like water damage. Even when you go on vacation, if you stayed in a place, let's say Airbnb with mold, just there you have mold in your body, and mold hides in the body, okay. Plastics, nanoplastic, microplastics, cookware, Teflon pans, even furniture, non-flammable material they use also, makeup products, they all cause mitochondrial dysfunction, thyroid dysfunction. So leaky gut, intestinal permeability. So in the gut, there are barriers, there are villi, right? There are tight junctions. But with these processed food, GMOs, all the stress, there is gap, developing gap in between those tight junctions, and then it starts leaking. Those foreign proteins start leaking, and your immune system starts attacking them. You develop antibodies. So that's how autoimmune diseases happen. You start having joint pains and brain fogs. It's just all the reason your thyroid is getting destroyed. The parasites go in, candida go in, antibiotics, one of the reason, painkillers are a reason, NSAIDs we call it, processed food, dairy, gluten, stress, sugar, high fat meals, saturated fat, right? Insulin resistance, diabetes, all the toxins, metals, right? So yeah, there are a lot of, unfortunately, reasons that would destroy thyroid and thyroid mitochondria connection. So thyroid patients need to focus on the quality of the food, okay? Need to eat healthy. So a lot of energy producing, mitochondria producing food we have to focus on. Yes, dairy and gluten are really bad, processed food, alcohol are really bad, but let's focus on the good things so that we don't have appetite for the bad things, okay? So let's focus on the importance of fruits, vegetables, mainly raw, with live enzymes intact, fiber intact, okay? So nuts, seeds, grains, whole grains, and also the what they call beans, lentils, like legumes, okay? So don't think about your restrictions, think about the variety of the food you're going to get from plant kingdom, okay? Plant-based, mainly plant-based, abundance of food, the variety you're going to enjoy. Let's focus on that one. Okay, cruciferous vegetables, there is a myth, as you know, cruciferous vegetables affect the thyroid. No, just the opposite. That's a myth. That's a very old study that's done on rabbits about thyroid uptake, the iodine uptake in thyroid. So it did affect a little bit, but remember, our problem is not iodine deficiency here. Our problem is inflammation. What's gonna help the reduce the inflammation? Cruciferous vegetables. So just opposite, you have to eat a lot of cruciferous vegetables, fruits, all the vegetables, non-starches as well, to reduce the inflammation, increase the mitochondria function, and even the production of mitochondria in our body. Okay, please do not shy away from cruciferous vegetables. That's what's gonna save you. Okay, so omega-3, we said omega-3 Remember, there are two pathways, omega-3 pathway, omega-6 pathway in our body. So all these processed food or bad oils we're eating, the omega-6 we're getting from those is putting us in inflammatory state. So we have to pull ourselves to the anti-inflammatory omega-3 pathway. How are we going to do that? With omega-3 fatty acids, right? Mainly from plant sources, please, because these are the cleanest. Flaxseed, for example, chia seeds. You can do marine sources, algae, omega-3. If you can find the Arctic fish, the cleanest, crisp Atlantic, Arctic, if you can find your trust, you can get it, maybe fish oils, but remember, there is a lot of problems going on with the fish oil industry. It's like mostly rancid, nobody is checking those, there is no control mechanism, so it's just at your discretion. Basically, you just need to do your own search. Okay, so probiotics could be helpful for leaky gut, especially vitamin D. It's better if it's from the sun, but at least daily supplements, get it checked maybe to see if you're really deficient or not. Okay, so green teas, antioxidant, very well known, it's studied. Spices like turmeric, ginger, and you need to add a little bit black pepper so that turmeric is more efficient, right? So iodine in seaweed, and if you think it's because of iodine deficiency, you can take 150 microgram over the counter daily. Iodine, selenium and zinc are very important for thyroid hormone production. Selenium, like maybe 1 Brazil nut a day, and zinc comes mainly from pumpkin seeds. So usually you see it's just easily obtainable. Inositol, another substance that would come from beans and brown rice. So basically we just need to eat simple food, okay? Nothing processed. We need to manage the stress, good sleep. So try to manage stress. Everybody has stress in life. I know some people have more, but if you cannot do anything, you just need to let it go sometimes. Try to create resilience. How we're gonna do that? Meditation, okay? Meditation really grounds you, okay? Deep breathing exercises. There is this 4-7-8 method. You're taking breath, like counting to 4, keeping it for 7 seconds, and then breathing out, counting to 8. So 4-7-8. This is very old pranayama, old yoga practice. Okay, so it's studied. It's parasympathetic. It just relaxes you, helps with your sleep. Just try to do these things. Take your time and try to do this during the day. Otherwise, we're always on the go. We're never grounding ourselves. Okay, just try to take your time and enjoy the moment. Okay, that's how you're going to reduce the inflammation, your stress response. Okay, there are YouTube videos, guided meditations. You can go for a walk, nature walk, forest bathing. Now with that forest, you may not even realize there is this subtle smell that goes in with the olfactory nerve, goes to your brain. It relaxes your brain, your nerves, okay? Improves the mitochondria function and mitochondria production. It's healing, nature walk. You cannot be hiking and in a bad mood, for example. If you're hiking, you always have good mood. Okay, that's very well known. Just go out there in the nature. Acupuncture may help, exercise, okay, body movement. If you're moving, it means that your body is producing mitochondria, right? Because it needs it. Okay, exercise to get mitochondria function back. Thyroid patients should do strength training as well. Okay. if we don't move our body, we don't produce mitochondria. And there are other mitochondrial supplements, for example, CoQ10, if you want to take, L-carnitine, chromium, these also help with insulin resistance, like berberine as well. It helps with insulin resistance, okay, curbing the appetite as well. They are all very useful for mitochondria production and function, okay? Okay, so I'm finishing here. Hope your week is going well with the program. Next week, in the challenge, we're going back to intermittent fasting again. So I'm going to keep writing the schedule to remind you. We are getting great results, okay? So next week, let's meet with another subject. We'll keep in touch, okay? Please write your questions below if you have thyroid condition, if you need my assistance with anything. Remember, if your thyroid, Hashimoto is reversible, especially if you're not destroyed, they didn't take out your thyroid and if it's still intact, if you're not taking more than 175 microgram of levothyroxine, this is fixable, okay? If you need my help, write to me. I can always help you out. So we'll meet next week for another subject, okay? Have a great week. I'll see you next week. Bye.